Stephen.
Andrew.
Fancy spending a quiet night inside number 9?
Yep.
Yeah, we're going into the script book of Series 3, Episode 2, The Bill. We should probably say from the outset here that we've had some pretty mortifying news this week.
Mortifying is how you describe new content.
Yeah, so Series 6 has been announced. Unfortunately, it has really messed up our schedule. So
okay, so I feel like I need to say here that I feel like this, if ever I was concerned that this podcast has damaged your enjoyment of Inside Number 9, now is the moment where you're not excited for new, you're just disgusted with how it screwed up the podcast.
I'd be excited if it came at the right time. No, I'm genuine. I'm beyond excited. So yeah, first episode of Series 6 starts on the 10th of May, which means that this is going to be our final script book episode for now, because I'm pretty sure it will feel quite irrelevant to hear us talking about, what's the next one? Riddle of the Sphinx. The day after the new series starts. And even if you would like that, it feels a bit like we're out of touch, like old men. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right.
I was really looking forward to Riddle of the Sphinx as well.
Yeah. You'll riddle your Sphinx later. We'll get back to it.
Okay. You're
so
such
yeah,
with words.
we're planning on doing like proper reaction episodes, I think, to the new series. So we'll try. I don't know what the schedule plan will be quite, but we'll try and get some stuff out fairly soon after each episode airs, in quite a raw way. Yeah.
During
the episode. What's going on? I've no idea. Like, all I can hear is you talking.
I've written down the first 2 lines of dialogue. I have no idea what's happened since.
It started with like this song that went like did. Oh no, that's Jonathan Creek. I was going to Jonathan Creek for some reason. Diddle-diddle-doo. Yeah, so that's the state of affairs.
That's one way to describe it.
I feel like I've underplayed actually this moment, because this is the first time that we've had a like genuine something new, well, other than the script books, but like since we started doing this podcast, that there's something new in this realm. That
I mean, it was
really
weird enough
exciting.
when we were recording our chats about the last season, how recent they felt.
Yeah.
It was like, that was this year, but now it will be, that was this week.
That was like yesterday. It's great.
No one else has seen this before.
No, it's really exciting.
Yeah,
it's really cool. And actually, so I think, will the day that this episode airs, I think it might be the anniversary of this podcast beginning.
Wow.
We've been doing it for a year.
That's mad.
Yeah.
I didn't think this would happen.
I've spoken to you like every week for a year.
We've done really well. I haven't stuck to anything like this.
No.
Apart from, my job and my marriage and my child. They've outside of my professional and home life.
But not, I mean, you've got contracts with those things. Like, we didn't even sign a contract here.
That's true. Yeah, Yeah.
You didn't stick to your degree.
That's true. Very true. I've done more on this than I did in probably even my actual degree.
Yeah. Not your little practice year.
Not my practice year. This has been more effort has gone into this than my real degree, I reckon.
Mm. Yeah.
Think about all that watching stuff, noting stuff.
That's it. Just really more passion and care has gone into this. Definitely. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, let's get into all the small talks out the way now. let's get into the bill. So actually, I was quite surprised at how different the script is to the episode.
Me too.
Talking about the other week, we were saying like, have they found their stride so that like the scripts are actually going to be quite similar to the shows themselves. Now they know like what to expect and stuff and what to put in. This one's massively different.
It made me wonder how much of this might have been sort of just ad-libbed and go with the flow and kind of just going with what felt like worked on the day.
Yeah. I would really love to know the process, like who was adding the lines, because it's a lot of
there's some big chunks.
It's a lot of Craig. Yeah, a lot of Craig stuff is added. So some of his like more seedy sort of.
I did think that was one of the things that first jumped out at me, was that they developed his character into a slightly more extreme version of what was on paper.
Yeah,
like they kind of took it a step further with, some of his behavior, some of his lines.
Yeah,
like, and there were things that we picked up on, I think, in the first time that kind of we used as examples of the sort of person that he was. That he wasn't
not in the script
as.
Really. Yeah, exactly. And even right from the beginning, there's the kind of talk that's going on off screen a little bit, where you're sort of you're panning round to the table, you're hearing the conversation going on, and he has that line about something like a horse being 2-1 at Aintree, and then something was 2-4-1 at Asda, which I'm guessing was like wine or something like that. And then like that, like lads banter, and it's like you get right from the get go, you have an impression of who this guy, like the sort of guy this is, and that's not written into the script.
The first biggie for him was the people in glass houses, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. No, they should throw sex parties.
That's it. Yeah.
No, they should throw parties with strippers. And they've just created like this persona that wasn't in there. And then the next big one was the divorce conversation later on.
Yeah. And these are actually massive parts of his character development, like, or his character, the impression, the perception that you have of his character. And also that glasshouses bit that sets up the unspoken subtext between Archie and Malcolm, because there's that really awkward moment, isn't there? Like where he says, is it like, there's kind of a question of like, what shouldn't people in glass houses do or something? And Malcolm's like, shouldn't throw stones. Oh no, I can't remember the exact, but there's that look between them, isn't it? Where it's like something unspoken is going on here.
Yeah.
And that's not in the script at all. But then that continues through the episode. I think it culminates pretty much in when you get the revelation of the brain tumor. That's almost the thing that then. But then that doesn't explain why there's an awareness between Malcolm and Archie. Obviously, this whole thing's scripted anyway. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that was the brain. There was almost a bit of a jump the shark moment with the brain tumor. It's just massive. Just this.
It's like a bit too much. That's too far.
I didn't want to tell you this.
Yeah. The other. So, like, obviously, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Parable.
Proverb.
Proverb. Yeah. Oh man.
Proverb. Is it a proverb?
Proverb. The other one that sounded like that, which I made a little note of, was mints in northern restaurants are all drenched in piss. Which I think I'd never heard it in that sort of light before, but it sounded like it was kind of some metaphor for something. And I was trying to work it. What do you think that's a metaphor for?
Mints in. So it's something that you get for free.
Yeah.
that's supposed to be a nice way to cleanse your palate at the end of a meal. Although it's a really crap palate cleanser because it just makes everything taste of mint afterwards. I wouldn't recommend that between courses.
It's not a palate cleanser, really, is it?
No.
Just a breath freshener.
So something for free that's designed to freshen your breath that actually involves you consuming human waste.
Yeah, or something toxic.
What is this talking about?
I don't know.
You've got any thoughts on what this could be? Do let us know.
I love these kinds of things. It's like I was reminded of there's an episode of the Ricky Gervais podcast when they're trying to talk to Carl Pilkington about like some of these proverbs, and I think there's talk about stitch in time saves 9. Stitch in 9. A stitch in 9, number 9. Oh,
no.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, and they talk about people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, and he's saying like, I'd prefer like, you know, what you say is what you mean. Like, people in glass houses should always answer the door. And they're like, okay, what's the kind of meaning behind that? It's like, no, he literally means like, because, you know, if you go to the door of a glass house, then you'll be able to see that someone's in, so they have to answer the door. And he can't get his head around.
There's potential for depth in that.
There is. Yeah. Like, if you live life kind of, I think Ricky Gervais talks about, sort of like, you kind of have a value of transparency in your life, then when someone comes knocking at the door, you've got to sort of live that through, you know. No. Yeah, practice what you preach. But no,
there's another one.
Yeah, there you go. They're everywhere.
I address proverbs with more proverbs. I explain proverbs with more proverbs.
It's a nightmare if you take everything literally. Yeah. But I think listening to that made me think like, oh man, yeah, I do. I talk and think in a lot of figurative language, which for some people, they can't do that. Like, it's really difficult. So probably like, yeah, really kind
of cut that out.
Alienate people. Yeah.
Stop saying things like
onions,
mints in northern restaurants are covered in piss,
drenched in piss.
What's? Sorry, I should get my terminology right. Not covered; they're drenched.
What about answering the door? You should wear a coat. You
should always wear a coat when you answer the door. It's one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard. If someone knocks on your door, put a coat on, because if it turns out that you didn't want to have a conversation with them, you were on your way out. If you did want to speak to them, then you just arrived home. So either way.
Unless you're living in a glass house.
Unless you're living in a glass house.
Then they can see
your coat on the way into the door.
You've got to be going out. You're always going out.
It's how far do you commit to that? If they're like, okay, and then they go and get in their car to leave, do you then have to leave the house, get in your car, drive around the block?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
It's probably best that if you need to live your life open and transparent, and
yeah,
if you live in a glass house, then if someone knocks on the door, you've got to answer it.
Yeah, exactly, and offer them a mint drenched in piss.
unless you're not in the north, in which case it's not necessarily drenched in piss.
Is that is the fact the mint's not necessarily drenched in piss, or
I don't know.
That only mints are only available in the north?
I think I've had mints in the south.
I've had mints in the south, yeah.
I think I've been offered mints.
We get them in the Midlands.
Yeah.
Different sorts of mints in different places as well.
But I don't know if the ones that we're offered here are drenched in piss.
I don't know what the level of
piss mints is.
Piss mints.
Why are they piss mints? Because people come out of the bog, don't wash their hands and reach in for a mint on the way past. Craig is stunned by this revelation.
He is. He doesn't want...
No, people aren't animals. Yes, they are.
They are, literally, yeah. I love the Kevin, the sort of off the cuff, like, and fecal matter. And it just drifts by. It's a perfectly delivered line that just doesn't get any response. It's just like...
But this is it, like, to what extent do they kind of just go off on one? Like they drop off their own little mini script because there's no way they would have planned a conversation about piss mints. Surely,
well, that's the thing. Yeah, I made a note of that. Like they had almost prepared patter for something.
Craig asked for the mints, didn't he?
Yeah, so that was not in the plan.
And also that meant that Anya had her little lines about the kitchen boy will cleanse the pallets.
Yeah, yeah. It's great. No, they're really talented little con group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Well done, guys.
Because London piss is like sparkling water, isn't it? You could just drink it straight back down again. Maybe Midlands piss lies somewhere between Northern piss and sparkling water piss.
Yeah, I reckon. Well, yeah, I don't know.
Having been anywhere near public toilets in London, you can tell that is not like sparkling water.
No, it's not. Well, not most in the places I've been to London. In London,
maybe I'm at the wrong places.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that divorce conversation. Best $750,000 ever spent. So that sets it up.
It's quite a big line.
And it sets up his sort of level of wealth, doesn't it? What we're talking like
exactly.
Who we're dealing with here, who we're looking at.
Yeah.
And actually, the important thing that's established through the episode for Craig is probably the connection with these guys. Like he's found some people that he relates to as friends, and that's the thing that, well, other than excitement, that it's actually some sort of bond with people that he's missing.
Yeah,
and craving.
He gives a little speech that actually wasn't fully in it either, was it? When he was talking about the fact that he had kind of met them and they made his conference more bearable.
Yeah. That's added as well, isn't it? Yeah.
There's loads of stuff. This is rich with just these what seem like quite important bits of dialogue.
Yeah, that
just dropped in, and like we said, I'd be really interested to know where they came from and whether it was what's his name? He's a Glenister, isn't he?
Yeah.
How much of it was Philip Glenister driving some of the extra stuff, going, you know what will work here?
Yeah, I'd love to know, what that process was, whether it was, Reese and Steve just working things through when you're on set, thinking actually, because it's dialogue rich and dialogue heavy anyway. Like that's the whole thing of this episode. Like it's all about dialogue, this whole episode. But the fact that there's room for so much more that's not included in this script, and there's only sort of 2 or 3 lines have actually been cut.
I wonder what the runtime would have been without some of this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that includes like waiting for friggin' Kevin to wait for his watch to go around to the top as well.
Yeah. So what I thought was, on that little scene, they took it up to the stab scotch, which I love the name stab scotch. Yeah. I still think that whole thing is brilliant. Stab scotch. They took that up to 10 times rather than 5 times.
They did.
And the time stayed the same. It was still 23 seconds. So I was going to say that like it went up to 10 times, which allows that section to get more absurd. But when I read 23 seconds in the script, I was expecting it to be like 47 seconds because that allowed the ridiculousness of that whole scene and going through it and it building and the tense music and stuff with someone just doing a little knife between their hands. But no, it stayed at 23 seconds. So I assume that Malcolm was even better at that than they realised he would be.
Yeah. Do you think they sort of theorised it would take 5 times, that'll take about 23 seconds.
Yeah, maybe.
They got on set and started doing it. It's like, no, I can do loads faster than that.
You reckon Steve did his own stunts for this?
Or it wasn't a real
hand.
Knife.
Oh. Or hand.
Or hand. Nothing's real.
Nothing's real. It was a cake. Who knows what's
Yaya Touré's cake
anymore. Another proverb: never don't buy Yaya Touré a birthday cake. This is a bit niche.
Damages.
And then Reese's attempt at stab scotch is hilarious.
It's messy.
I love that the music doesn't even really kick in for him until a fair few attempts in, where it's just like dead quiet with him just
it's just like hacking away like yeah. It's unfair. He does have a brain tumor.
That he does have a brain tumor, which there was a little ad lib on the brain tumor bit with the oh yeah, we took a guy from work. He went to Switzerland. Dignitas, no Geneva.
Yeah,
there was no Geneva there.
Yeah, Geneva.
No, it was Geneva.
And the way he, where is that line? Yeah, because in the script it's to Dignitas ?
Yeah,
and
no Geneva.
But the way Kevin delivers that line is, he doesn't say to Dignitas. He just says Dignitas.
He just assumes it was to Dignitas.
Yeah, Dignitas. Yeah, it's just like, the Geneva. Assumption of Dignitas. Yeah.
Oh, that's what that makes
sense. And then the way he's like looking at Craig as he's telling the story of like the, he looks like, and that's obviously at that point ad-libbed in the story.
They are sat a lot closer than I remembered from the initial scenes at that point. It feels like they're really sort of tight in together.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Kevin's like looking up to Craig, like kind of doting on him almost, like, oh wow, these tall tales that you're telling, these are just beautiful. Yeah,
and he there was another line in there that was that was added in even. There was another like Craig builder, which was, yes, I live in London. Yes, I'm very rich.
Yes.
That's classic Craig at this point.
Yeah.
Here. And it's around that same time that you get Kevin dropping all those pickpockets.
Yeah.
There's a little sneaky glimpse there at what they're actually pulling. This is essentially a pickpocket job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you're not very aware of the pickpockets, are you, really?
No, not at all. There was, I found it interesting knowing from the initial story now that Susie was not meant to have been mentioned.
Yeah.
And
then Susie gets a special mention.
She gets another mention later on. Again, when he comes back having found out about the brain tumor, and goes, I've spoken to Susie. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they both.
You've already had the look. Yeah. We've already had the look, as if to say, don't mention Susie.
Yeah.
Blasting out of the toilets.
And there's the added line when Susie's first mentioned by Archie that Craig says, "Oh, I like the sound of Susie. Has she got a sister?"
That does appear.
Does it?
It is in the script.
Ooh.
It is there. I thought that, but then I saw it. Where are you?
And another added line from Craig is when he asks if they have any limoncello.
Yeah.
Please, it's a liqueur. Liqueur what? Actually, that's Anya who adds that.
Yeah.
She's good. She's like she's quick,
good.
Very, very quick-witted.
She doesn't get enough credit from them.
No, she just gets blamed for, having a reaction when he stands on her hand.
You can't help
geography that. Wrong.
So it'll be double the price, won't it? Even more if your Susie puts it away like she did at the Christmas do. All those mojitos. Oh, I like the sound of Susie. Has she got a sister?
Yeah.
tense moment.
Interesting. They, put it there.
Yeah.
Wonder what inspired that kind of shift of line.
I think it was after the tense look. It's what kind of breaks the tense look.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it shifted to how do we get out of this little bit of tension? And it's Craig saying, "Oh, I like the sound of Susie."
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's just before that. Why have I thought that?
I don't know. I did exactly the same.
That's
where's that gone? I think what probably happened was it didn't happen, so you started writing it down.
And then it happened.
And then it happened while you were writing it down, didn't notice it.
Yeah. How weird. How weird. Yeah. It's just those two lines are swapped around, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's so odd. Yeah, good. I did make a note of that, talking about the knife part. Just how much of an amazing moment that is when it all culminates in Malcolm saying, "Miss, would you please bring us the sharpest knife you have in your kitchen?" It's like, that is an amazing question. And then Anya's like, "No, the matter is closed. There is no bill. There's always a bill. Someone has to pay." And then Craig, "Look, whatever you're thinking of doing, I would probably advise against it. There must be an alternative." But then he gets involved so quickly.
Oh, he's so on board with it. He loves this stuff.
Which is like, that comes back to that excitement thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That theory of why he's then involved at the end. That actually it's not that he's necessarily coerced into this.
No, that's a really good point. Actually, it was when he's like, "It's fine. I'll do it on my iPhone. I'll time it. It's fine.
Yeah,
I can run this." And it's we said at the end when we went through this first time that it kind of felt like a little bit of a weak point in some ways, and we had some conversations with people online about why he joined. And we were told, look, it's obvious. There's the stuff about going rock climbing in Canada and that kind of stuff. Like, he's desperate for excitement.
He's rich and he makes a lot of money in London, but it's not a fulfilling life.
No. And actually, the fact that you can quickly jump into this and switch into, yes, I'll do the timing. It's great. This is fun. And
he's probably had more of a kind of stimulating, alive time, almost being robbed of 200 grand than he has with 200 grand spending that on something else.
I mean, he's probably spending it on whatever he's got hidden in the left-hand side of his wardrobe and in his top drawer.
Yeah.
That top drawer also always just reminds me of first series of Alan Partridge and Lynn looking in the wrong drawer.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, again, can we just discuss the fact that someone brings an au pair to a hotel? Yeah. What is this? What is this hotel? Has he got like a whole suite with the kids in one room? The idea that his children are going to burn to death in a hotel room.
Yeah, what is it that he is saying you should unplug?
Just unplug everything. Like, she's worried that
unless there's something specific that's like literally giving off a flame.
It's in the left-hand side of the wardrobe. You can't unplug a gas stove. I think unplugging a gas stove might be a worse idea.
That's a recipe for a gas leak.
It sounds that way. And boom.
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 That's what would happen.
Another great question is Kevin, after Anya gets her throat slit. What did you do that for?
Yeah, what did you
when I was reading it, I was like, there's some, you see the genius of writing with just absurd little, like, I can imagine writing a question, like writing that part of the script and just being like, that's a really funny question to ask at that point. Like, it doesn't quite fit. What did you do that for?
Yeah. In fact, I've written, "What did you do that for?" in quote marks, followed by "ha."
Yeah, I love it.
Steve also adding in Malcolm licking his fingers.
I know. Yeah, I made a note.
There was no direction there for that at all.
Malcolm gets up with blood on his shirt. I put, and then tastes it. Yeah, and the change of the fillet of finger to the fish finger. It's such a nice little... Because Kevin, he's just such a good character. I know we talked about it on the kind of reaction episode of that shift. It's the same as the kind of the usual suspects Kaiser Soze shift of this really almost the kind of the vulnerable, like weak point in the team. Yeah. Turns out actually, no, he's the ringleader. And when he turns and changes, it's like, okay, this guy, he's the one that's in charge here.
They lost his silly little line about whether they were going to have to give a tip to the people doing the cleanup.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's no tip. Yeah. I'm glad they lost that line. I don't think that would have fitted
him
that well at that point.
They also got rid of Archie playing with the knife.
Yeah.
At the end. It says he was surrounded, but I guess he was in a way surrounded because the door was locked.
Yeah, it's more sinister in the script.
They didn't close in on him.
No.
Like one of us. One of us.
No. Which is why I think that actually then led to the end being a little bit more open to interpretation.
Maybe. And I guess also it could be a I think we suggested that maybe they knew what was in the suitcase, or they knew what was in the wardrobe or something, and they had something on him, which is why he stuck around. There maybe there's like a Pulp Fiction briefcase kind of thing going on here.
Yeah. But actually it's probably
seeing the end and the way that he the direction and the way it plays out with him sort of nodding.
Yeah.
Nodding as though he's in on the game.
I'm in the group. I belong.
Did I miss entirely the fact that Anya had been recast as the new Mark's girlfriend?
I think you did, yeah.
I don't think I spotted that. I don't think I realised that they had just recast her as a new player in this. And actually, this sounds like it was an even longer game.
Must have been, a bit of seduction going on. Yeah,
they just picked him up at a business conference for his one, and within a couple of days they had him. With this, it sounded like
probably wouldn't have taken a huge amount of convincing, but
maybe he had a sweatshirt around his.
He did, shoulders. Yeah.
just an observation. It may or may not have a bearing on how easy it was for Anya to work her charm.
Exactly. But no, she's a pretty good actor. And
do you reckon she's still playing the Eastern European girl character?
She didn't really talk at the end, did she?
No, so maybe she is.
Who knows? We will never know. But yeah, I think maybe we were overthinking.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff like that.
I mean, that tends to happen when your entire focus of a podcast is talking about.
And that's fine. We're not sort of pinning our colours to the
proverbs. When is a proverb just a metaphor? Are all proverbs metaphors?
I don't know. If you've got any thoughts, please do email us, quietnightinsideno9@gmail.com.
We've probably got this all wrong. But even if we have, I guess there's no use crying over spilled milk, is there, to be honest? Look, you guys at home should just be thankful that we didn't decide to turn this into an episode just littered with proverbs. This could have been another Zanzibar boy band episode.
Yeah, could have been. That's the episode that could have been. In like talking of overthinking, it was pointed out. Who pointed it out on Twitter about The Devil of Christmas and the fact that the missing, what was it? Hold on.
Was it the fluff line one?
The fluffed line bit, yeah.
Was it just an overdub?
Oh yeah, Ellie, Great Devil of Christmas podcast episode, you both. Thank you very much, Ellie. That's very kind.
Glad you've gone for the whole of that. Read out don't just read out the relevant bit. Do a little bit of self-congratulation on the way there as well.
Okay, I'll read the next bit then as well. I was laughing to myself in the rain listening to you. Just wanted to mention, I like that. It's a great delivery of criticism.
Yeah.
Just going to
it's better than leaving
stroke your egos, and then just wanted to mention, you guys are idiots. I thought the mini fluff was the fact that Celia is telling Toby to get back into bed at once when he is already in bed, rather than an overdub. That's a very gentle way of putting it.
Ellie, I like the fact that Ellie has framed that as it may be even possibly being her mistake rather than ours.
Exactly. That's
very humble,
very
criticism that I think is
we were totally wrong.
It deserves,
and you were totally right. She says the line is there twice. So she says, "Get back into bed," when he's kind of getting back into bed, and then he says whatever he says, and then she says, "Get back into bed again." So,
fluff line.
Whatever line it was that she was supposed to say, she didn't say, and it's not in the script either. It's fluffed, totally fluffed. But yeah, so thanks, Ellie. Cool. Well, this is the end of our little script book time for now. We will do the other 4
in the future.
In the future, at some point, either after the next series, or we might, play around with that series a little bit. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll riddle your Sphinx very soon. Or not so soon, but it will happen.
At some time. Your Sphinx will be riddled. Oh, God.
Can't end a podcast like that.
It seems that after last week, we can end it however we want.
Cool, we'll do that then. All right. Yeah, if you do have any thoughts or any excitement that you want to share with us about the new series, then please do. As I say, email aquietnightinside09@gmail.com or get in touch via Twitter @AQNIN9. Great. Anything else to say?
I don't think so.
Brilliant. We'll leave it there then. All right. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.